What could drive a man to take 4 lives in cold blood? This question echoes through the hushed corridors of Minnesota's courtrooms as we delve into the dark tale of Antwon Suggs, a man found guilty of taking the lives of Natosha Flug Presley, Jasmine C. Sturm, Matthew Pettis, and Lois Foreman III. Their lifeless bodies, discovered in the eerie silence of a Wisconsin cornfield, sent shockwaves through the community. This is no ordinary crime. It's a tale that chills the bones and shakes the soul. This is the chilling story of the Minnesota assassin Antwon Suggs. Antwon Suggs, a name that would soon send shivers down the spine of St. Paul. The tale of this fateful night is one that seeped in dread and disbelief. It's the story of a man who, under the dark cloak of night, unleashed a horror that would forever scar the memory of this peaceful town. Suggs was found guilty of 4 counts of second-degree murder. The victims, Natosha Flug Presley, Jasmine C. Sturm, Matthew Pettis, and Lois Foreman III. 4 lives extinguished in the blink of an eye, their bodies discarded without remorse in a Wisconsin cornfield. Suggs claimed self-defense, stating that these 4 individuals had attempted to rob him. But as the trial unfolded, the truth began to surface. The jury deliberated, painstakingly dissecting every shred of evidence, every testimony, every claim. They were the gatekeepers of justice, their decision holding the power to either affirm or refute Suggs's narrative. The weight of their responsibility was immense. But there was another cog in this gruesome machine of crime. Darren Osborne, Suggs's accomplice, had already pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. His confession added another layer of complexity to the case, further muddying the waters surrounding Suggs's claims of self-defense. As the trial progressed, the defense attorney, Kevin DeVore, worked tirelessly to uphold Suggs's narrative, arguing that his client had acted in self-defense. But the prosecution was not swayed. They presented compelling evidence, arguing that Suggs had not only intended to kill the victims, but had executed his plan with cold-blooded precision. But as the evidence stacked against him, Suggs's claim of self-defense began to crumble. The courtroom held its breath, waiting for the moment of truth. The unfolding of this crime had left a community in shock, a city in mourning, and 4 families forever shattered by loss. 4 lives taken, 4 families shattered. This is the harrowing reality we're grappling with in the aftermath of this horrific crime. The ripple effects of the case have been profound, reaching far beyond the confines of the courtroom and into the heart of the community. The families of Natosha Flug Presley, Jasmine C. Sturm, Matthew Pettis, and Lois Foreman III have been left in an abyss of grief and bewilderment. The court testimonies, filled with raw emotion and heartbreak, painted a picture of the victims not just as headlines, but as individuals whose lives were abruptly and cruelly taken away. Parents, siblings, children, friends. Their lives were forever altered by an act of violence that was as senseless as it was brutal. The loss they've suffered is immeasurable, and the pain, the questions, the longing for their loved ones, it's a burden they carry every single day. But this tragedy didn't just touch the victims' families. It sent shockwaves through the entire community. A collective sense of outrage, of disbelief, of mourning engulfed society. This case has been a grim reminder of the fragility of life, of the depths of human cruelty, and of the importance of justice in the face of such heinous acts. The public reaction has been immense. There were vigils, there were protests, there were calls for justice echoing throughout the streets. People were united in their grief, in their anger, in their demand for accountability. And all of these emotions, these actions, they've stemmed from a deep-seated desire for one thing: justice. In the wake of such a horrifying crime, the community cried out for justice. Justice, as it turns out, would not be denied. Antwon Suggs, dubbed the Minnesota Assassin, was found guilty on 4 counts of second-degree murder. His claim of self-defense was seen through by the jury, leading to a verdict that would see him behind bars for a maximum of 40 years for each count. A chilling sentence for a chilling crime. His accomplice, Darren Osborne, would not escape either, receiving a 5-year sentence for his involvement. The families of the victims, Natosha Flug Presley, Jasmine C. Sturm, Matthew Pettis, and Lois Foreman III, were enveloped in a bitter mix of relief and grief. Their calls for justice had been answered, but it brought them no closer to understanding why their loved ones were taken from them. As for the community, the shock waves of this crime continue to ripple. It has left an indelible mark, a reminder of the fragility of life and the horror that can be inflicted by one individual. As the story of Antoine Suggs comes to an end, we're left with a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the hearts of men.